This show is brought to you by NMDC Group.
The UAE and Indonesia inaugurate the largest floating solar farm in Southeast Asia, and oil holds near a 3-month low. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. The UAE and Indonesia today inaugurated a $100 million floating solar farm, the largest in Southeast Asia and the third largest in the world. The project is a collaboration between Masdar and Indonesia and took 3 years to complete. The Sirata floating solar farm is expected to generate enough electricity to power 50,000 households. The farm is funded by Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, Societe Generale, and Standard Chartered. Indonesia is attempting to reach net zero by 2060. Brent crude is holding at a 3-month low after dropping below $80 per barrel for the first time since July. Brent is trading near $80 now after losing almost 7% in 2 sessions amid fears over global demand. Meanwhile, West Texas has slumped to around $76. Oil prices have fallen sharply over the past 3 weeks on concerns over weaker demand. Refining margins are falling and stockpiles are building in China, the world's biggest oil importer. The Fed is likely done raising interest rates to tackle inflation, but probably won't cut them in the short term, according to a senior policymaker. Officials say holding interest rates at their current restrictive level is the right course of action. The Fed recently voted to hold its benchmark lending rate at its current 22-year high for the second consecutive meeting and indicated it still has a long way to go to bring inflation down to its 2% target. ARM has announced a fiscal Q3 outlook below Wall Street estimates, with revenue of $760 million, below the consensus analyst estimate of $767.84 million. It cites a large deal that will likely land later than expected. ARM shares dove 8% to $50 after the news. But ARM also forecast fiscal full-year sales that beat Wall Street expectations, with $3 billion revenue for fiscal 2024, exceeding the average analyst estimate of $2.95 billion. It's powered by a wave of companies designing new chips amid a boom in AI applications. Airbus is ramping up production of its A350 wide-body aircraft to meet the surging demand for its planes after reporting high revenues. Airbus posted an 11.8% rise in total revenue for the first 9 months of this year to $45.6 billion. It says increasing revenues reflected higher deliveries. As air travel demand increased following the pandemic, Airbus says its order backlog surpassed 8,000 planes by August. It delivered 488 commercial aircraft in the first 3 quarters of this year. Disney's streaming service has attracted nearly 7 million new subscribers, reversing a period of decline that had raised doubts about its rivalry with Netflix. Disney embarked on a cost-cutting campaign, which caused its streaming losses to contract to $387 million in Q3, down from losses of $1.47 billion year on year. Disney Plus clients rose to 112.6 million in Q3 from 105.7 million in Q2. Sales reached $21.24 billion for the period, up slightly on the previous year. China slipped back into deflation in October. Food, tobacco, and alcohol prices saw the largest falls, with the price of pork in particular plunging 30.1%. While deflation suggests goods were cheaper, it threatens the broader economy as consumers tend to postpone purchases in the hopes of further reductions. A lack of demand can then force companies to cut production, freeze hiring, lay off workers, and offer discounts to sell off their stocks. It dampens profitability even as costs remain the same. And one of Pablo Picasso's masterpieces, Woman with a Watch, has sold for $139.3 million at Sotheby's New York auction. In a jam-packed room at the auction house, it only took a few minutes of telephone bidding for the 1932 painting to be sold. It had been valued at over $120 million before going on the block. The record sale for one of Picasso's works was of The Woman of Algiers, a 1955 oil painting which sold for $179.4 million. I'm Ramia Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
This show is brought to you by NMDC Group.